I want to recognize right from the beginning that this video is not for everyone. This is for those people who have these visions of the future, these thoughts and pictures of the future that are so vivid to them that they seem real, like they've already happened. And when you try to talk to other people about it, they think you're being unrealistic, that you're being Pollyannic, that you just need to get your head out of the clouds and back in reality. If you're that person, then this video is for you, because I'm that person. And I've been that person my entire life. In fact, I recently wondered if maybe there was something wrong with me because of this. I started to question this idea. As far back as I could remember, I had these really vivid ideas when I started thinking about the future. When I would imagine having a birthday party or going on a vacation or going on a hike or whatever else it was, or if I wanted to build or create something. I didn't just come up with a sort of plan for how to do it or map out things, but I found my mind imagining it with such vividness that it felt as if it was a memory and not something in the future. It felt so real to me that I could touch it and describe it as if it was already a part of my life experience. And I really enjoyed that, and I still enjoy it to this day. I didn't know until more recently that there's actually a name for it. Martin Seligman, who's a positive psychology expert, he has written a number of books that have intrigued me over the years. And he talked about one of the things that makes human beings distinct is their capacity for prospecting, for imagining possible futures. But what I didn't know is that there are actually two categories of prospecting, and probably more than that. But what I didn't realize is that not everyone prospects and thinks about the future in the same way. There are many people that engage in a kind of functional prospecting about the future. There's enough of a picture that it can motivate them and it can keep them going, but it's not especially detailed. And then there's a smaller segment of people who, when they engage in this act of prospecting, of imagining possible futures, they do it in high definition. And it's so vivid that it engages your brain in ways that you have certain physical responses, you have certain emotional responses, that you are reacting as if it's happening. And that's a really interesting thing. It can obviously have its downsides, and it needs to be kept in check. It needs to be managed. As it is with many things, there are traits that can have both benefits and downsides, and this is one of them. But if what I'm describing is you, please keep watching, and I want to walk through this with you a little bit, because it's something that I've struggled with a lot. I am in my early 50s right now, and I didn't realize until recently, the last handful of years, what was actually happening with this idea of prospecting. I've never really wanted to be in leadership roles, but somehow I kept ending up in various leadership roles. And oftentimes I filled roles that never existed before, or I engaged in building things and projects that never existed before. When I did my first master's degree years ago, I wrote about a possible future for education that didn't exist. And now it exists all over the place, but I'd written about it 2 decades prior. I've been a part of launching first of their kinds initiatives in a variety of areas and fields, and I've really enjoyed that work. But for me, it was actually quite different, I'm realizing now, than it was for the people around me. Because when I was pursuing this possible future, I wasn't actually pursuing a possible future. I was already living in it as if it had happened, as if it was in the present. And sometimes that led me to being frustrated because I was trying to understand, wait a second, this thing is so real. Why is it not happening? So it's not like I was disconnected from reality. I knew that it wasn't really happening, but it felt to me like it was real and it was in the world and we were just not getting it right. So somehow it was being muzzled. It wasn't something that we had to create. It was something that we had to uncover or reveal that was already there. That's how I thought about it, how I acted and how I operated. So how do we deal with this? If you are one of those people who does high definition prospecting and you have a tendency toward it, it can be really powerful. And as I've said, I enjoy it. I'm so grateful for the capacity to do this. And I don't know if it's something that people can cultivate and develop over time. I would suspect that you can to some degree, but I also suspect that whether it's nature or nurture, there are people that are wired to engage in different kinds of prospecting, and there are benefits and downsides to those different types. But if you're this person that experiences this high definition prospecting and you have people around you thinking that you're unrealistic, that you need to get your head out of the clouds, all of those kinds of things, maybe I'd like to invite you to consider possibly that there's a way to reframe this, that it is an ability that you have. It's a way of operating that you're inclined toward that has benefits and downsides, and you can learn how to use it to engage in clear thinking, better problem solving, better decision making, and seeing things that others miss and creating things that are powerful and can be a great blessing to others that maybe would have never been created had it not been for you. Solving problems in new and novel ways, it can be a real gift. So here are the 5 questions that I've jotted down for myself that I want to share with you if you are indeed one of those high definition prospectors. First question is this: is this vision so vivid that sharing the full scope would actually overwhelm or blind the people that I need to help build it? And this is one that I've had to deal with a lot in my own work and life. Sometimes you see it in high definition, but if you were to paint the full picture in your head for the people around you, they would not be able to grasp it right now, or they would feel overwhelmed by it. It'd be too much for them, and it wouldn't be as inspiring to them as it is to you, because in your head, it's not only the picture, but you're feeling it, you're seeing it. It feels real to you, and it's not going to feel the same way to them. It's just going to feel like information overload for some people. So one of the skills that you need to develop as a high definition prospector is determining how much of the picture to share and at what time. You want to use it as a gift and a tool for vision casting that can be so powerful and inspiring for people because they have a compelling reason, that compelling why for what they're doing and why you're doing it and where you're trying to go. And you can paint a picture of a desired destination. It doesn't mean that you're lying, but maybe you don't have to give every piece of the picture at the beginning. Maybe you do a slow reveal. You share the core vision and enough to get people excited and have a sense that we're trying to get to a certain place. But then over time, you can begin to reveal a little bit more. What if we added this? Or I wonder what it would look like if we expanded what I just described these last couple of years by adding these 3 new things. And so you get the idea that you can begin to build upon it. It requires a discipline, a patience, a postponing gratification for yourself, but it can be really helpful to learn how to manage that beautiful, vivid picture in your head. The second question is this: is that vivid picture in my head so overwhelming that I am distracted and not attending to the present needs of the people around me and of the things around me? If so, then that's a good check for yourself, that you may need to do a reality check. This vivid picture is powerful. It's great, yes, but it should not undermine your important roles and responsibilities for the present either. There are people that we are called to care for. There are tasks that need to get done today if we're going to be around, or our organization or our project is going to be around for us to get to that really cool future. And so we have to learn how to pursue it, and to pursue it aggressively even, but keeping it in check enough that we can attend to the things now that require our time, care, and attention. And then the third question is what I'm calling the motivator check. Am I open to the possibility that this vision is just mental scaffolding for me, a means to motivate me toward something that's different or even better than what I can see right now? Just because you see that possible future in such a vivid way that it feels real does not necessarily mean that is the best possible future. So the question that I'm posing here is, are you willing to allow it to just be a beautiful story and a beautiful picture that you're going to pursue and that you want to help bring into reality? But are you open to the possibility that the picture can and should change along the way? That's the thing that becomes hard about having this high definition prospecting, is you see it in such a vivid way. It almost becomes like a piece of art that's a masterpiece. And who would repaint a masterpiece? but it's not quite that. It's good for us to let go of that metaphor and to see it as a work of art in progress. You see the possibility, but there are better possibilities than what you've seen, even though it's vivid to you. And to be humble enough and open enough to consider that can allow you to use this ability of high definition prospecting in the best possible way. And then there's the bridge check. One thing that I found is that I see this possible future. It's really vivid to me, but this next question is really helpful for me to make progress oftentimes. So who in my circle has the functional resolution to build a bridge, even if they can't see what I see right now? So in other words, surrounding yourself with people who have more of a functional prospecting skill set, which oftentimes means that they're going to be far more effective at executing in the short term. Not always, but oftentimes. And how can I build a team of people and lean into their strengths so that they're really good? They can see the future and trust my vision enough that they're willing to be part of the team, and I trust their skill, and we collaborate in a way that we can get there better together. So those are a handful of the questions that I'm starting to ask myself more intentionally, and it's really helpful. I believe that high definition prospecting is a kind of gift. It's a blessing, but it can also be a curse. Anything can become a poison in a high enough quantity. We want to treat this as a gift. We want to recognize that the way we see things is not the same way that other people see it sometimes. We want to recognize that the way other people see it can be better and more helpful than how we see it, so it gives us a humility. We want to partner with other people, and we also want to recognize that just because we see something in a vivid way doesn't mean that is the best or the certain outcome. And so we can use it as a kind of scaffold or an inspiration for going in a certain direction while being flexible enough to adjust and adapt and to take advantage of new opportunities as they arise. I hope you find this useful. I look forward to your comments.